This is the feed room. This bin has dry beet pulp in it. This is an empty bin that I use to store the made up buckets of feed. And this bin keeps the sweet feed. The mineral supplement is here on the table, as is loose salt that I add to all the buckets, and this is a spoon for the salt. I have a scale for weighing out the feed and a spoon for mixing. The scale has 2 buttons on it. The button on the left changes the units of measure, and the button on the right is both an on-off button and a tare. So hit that button to turn it on, and it'll go to 0 regardless of what is already on the scale. So if you put an empty bucket on the scale and hit tare, it will go to 0, and you can start measuring or weighing something from 0. So there's an empty bucket. Now it registers 1 pound and 1.2 ounces. So I'm going to hit the tare button, and it'll reset to 0, so I can start measuring feed out into it. When I'm finished weighing, I just press and hold the tare button to turn it off. When I'm making up the feed in the evening, the first thing I do is put the salt and the minerals in the empty buckets. So I lay my buckets out on the floor like this. So I take my salt. Sometimes it cakes up in the wet weather, so it helps to shake in it so it'll come out. And I just measure sort of a heaping spoonful into each bucket. I'm not too particular about it, as long as every horse gets a good spoonful. Then I take my minerals and I put half of a large scoop, which I just eyeball, into each bucket. So once I have the buckets with salt and minerals in them, I put sweet feed in. So I set the first bucket on the scale, turn it on. It will tare to 0. The red bucket is Zephyr's bucket, so I want this to fill to 8 ounces. Roughly. So there's 8 ounces, 8.1 ounce, that's good. And I set the bucket in the bin. Set the next bucket. It went right to 0, so I don't have to re-tare it. The blue buckets are for Riley and Scotland, and they both get 16 ounces or 1 pound. So there's 1.08. And 1 full scoopful is usually good enough to fill 3 buckets, or maybe even 3 plus a small one of Zephyr's. So this again went to 0. I don't have to re-tare it. I pour the feed in and watch the numbers. £1 pound exactly. Turn off the scale and I'm done.